Hello everyone. Today we're going to be opening up our booster box of Paradox Rift that we picked up. So for those of you that were with us for last week's opening, you know that it was Black Friday and we braved the gladiatorial arena to get us some Pokemon products to open up for the channel. So last week we did the Build and Battle Stadium for Paradox Rift, and today we're going to be opening up an entire booster box of the set in hopes that we can get some good pulls out of it. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get into this. This one might be a little bit of a longer video. These do come with quite a few booster packs. Of course, we're going to break out our handy dandy wine opener to open this since didn't realize. But before I hit the record button, again, forgot to grab something sharp to open this. And as we saw last week, we could not get our brain firing. So we're going to cure that this week here. And we're just going to get right on into it. We've done quite a few things of Paradox Rift here on this channel. So we've actually done the original two Elite Trainer boxes, the one with Roaring Moon and Iron Valiant. We just did last week the Build and Battle Stadium with a whole bunch of different stuff in there. And today we're going through with the full booster box opening. So this will probably be the last main Paradox Rift opening that we'll be doing here on the channel. We will be opening, of course, we're going to continue to open up Pokemon products in general. But I kind of feel like we've got a good bit of, what this set is really all about in that. There are still some cards out of it that I do want. But that being said, I don't want it to be just a whole bunch of one particular set, and I know over the past couple of weeks here we've been really featuring this set because it is the latest and greatest out, but definitely also interested to open up some other sets with you guys. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to get right on into it. I guess real quick, we'll kind of go over the booster box packaging. It's pretty straightforward with a lot of modern stuff. Very simple, to the point, functions as a pretty great way just to store 36 booster packs worth of cards. I believe that's what it is, 36. Let's see if it says on here. I'm sure it does, but we're not going to waste too much time with that. Either way, though, we've got an abundance of goodness here to open. So hope everyone's having a good week. Probably as we go through some of these packs, or the first half of the packs here, we'll kind of take our time a little bit just to highlight some of the different artwork. But with just so many packs, I don't want the video to run on too long, but also want to make sure we can highlight some of the stuff that's in here. So as always, we have a code card out there for you. And let's get right into it. We got Aipom, Pansage, Mantike, Gabite, Simisage, Norman. I think this is actually the only time. So Norman was, I believe it was the 5th gym leader in Ruby and Sapphire, but I think it's the only time our character's father has ever been mentioned in the games. Orthworm, Volcanion, Magby, and Wo-Chien. And ending on a Psychic Energy. Getting right along into the next pack here. Let's see. Our wonderful code card. Parasol Lady. Porygon 2. Octillery. Actually kind of looks like the background to this is fairly realistic looking. That's actually a pretty cool artwork. Golbat, Durant, Slitherwing, Ferrothorn, Bonsweet, Nimble, and Brute Bonnet. Very cool. And a Grass Energy to end it. So I hope everyone's having or had a good week. I am going to be recording this video early, so I'm actually opening it the Sunday after Thanksgiving. This thing was just sitting on top of my dresser, and I'll be honest with you, I just couldn't keep my hands off of it. So I figured we're going to risk it for the biscuit, even though I am technically on call. You know, if the phone rings, we'll figure something out for that. I think I have enough brain power to know how to pause the video and that, and we'll just pick up right afterwards. But this was just sitting, like I said, right on my dresser in our bedroom, and I figured I can't stop. I gotta get it. So another Hoopa Full Art, very cool. So we actually got this in our Build and Battle Stadium. I'm not gonna complain about it. It's always nice to get a nice looking card like this. So we'll continue moving on through. So one of the things that I did see, and I know I kind of said it in our last opening, was one of my big issues with some of the full arts of the Terra Pokemon is I just wish they would do a little bit more to kind of amp up the color palette. You know, a lot of them do have white backgrounds, and don't get me wrong, it does make the card pop, but I do wish we could get a little bit more color going on in the background there. And after saying that, so Japan is going to be getting it first. However, there is going to be a new set coming out called Paldea Fates. And it is equivalent to Shining Fates from the Sword and Shield set, in that it will feature a lot of reprints, some of the very popular cards from our first couple of sets here for Scarlet and Violet. Chi-Yu Holo to end it on for this pack. Yeah, it'll feature a lot of reprints from popular stuff in some of the early sets, and then on top of that, it will also have kind of like all the Paldean Pokemon shiny. And one of the things that I saw, now it is an early leak, and sometimes, you know, sometimes leaks can be right on the money. Sometimes they can really get your hopes up for something that's not going to happen. But I did see, so they are doing another shiny Charizard. However, not that I think anybody heard it from my video, but they are actually making a lot of the card more of like a purplish color, so getting rid of a lot of that white in the background to really make the card pop, and it looks incredibly beautiful. So I am hopeful that, you know, maybe moving forward, that'll be something that they do. Again, I just think, you know, having the different colors for the corresponding Terra types would just make it look really beautiful. Jian-Pao Holo to end it on. So right now, I think we actually got, yeah, we got 3 out of the 4 tablets of Ruin Pokemon, which were pretty fun. Like I said, you know, last time Chi-Yu, thought that was very powerful. Ting Lu's my personal favorite out of the 4, just because it's a giant deer with a bowl on its head. And for whatever reason, I've actually been quite fond of deer as animals lately. Which, speaking of that, if at any point during this video you guys hear gunshots in the background, no, there is nothing of safety risk going on. It is the start of hunting season up here, and there are some places relatively close by where it sounds like people have been taking some shots at potential deer. So, and it does kind of ring a little loud inside the house. I shouldn't say loud, but enough to know that a gunshot did go off. So if you do hear that, just be aware that's all it is. Somebody out hunting. Oh, there we go. Armarouge EX. Very cool. Armarouge and Ceruledge. Very, very cool Pokemon in my opinion. I am more of a fan of Ceruledge, but Armarouge is very cool as well. And like I said, it just gives me such Mega Man vibes looking at that. But very, very cool. So we're starting off with some nice stuff already. Very happy to see that. Anyways, though, back to the Paldea Fates. If that is what the set's going to be in English, I do know sometimes the sets do have different names depending on where they're released at. But I would imagine it would be something very similar to that. But one of the nice things, though, that I did see is So I did already kind of mention that there's going to be a really nice shiny Charizard in there. But one of the other cool things that they're going to be doing is they are also going to be doing some tins for the set, and they will have another shiny Charizard in there. So I'm sure the really, really rare, beautiful looking one, that's going to run you probably some money. Let's be honest. A lot of times Charizard is not a cheap card. Zekrom. But it will be cool though to see that, if you don't want to spend potentially hundreds of dollars or even $100, you can go out, buy a tin, still get a shiny Charizard with a Dark Terra type. So I am really excited about that. So I think that's something that, once that tin drops, we'll be sure to get that. And I imagine that'll also be a nice set to do a lot of videos on, just because, it'll cover a lot of the cards that we didn't get to open up together, since I didn't really start this channel until actually Paradox Rift came out. So Oricoro, Swablu, Pansear, Crobat, Rourke, Steenie, Jirachi, very cool, Morpeko in its hangry form. I think a lot of us can relate to that, but very cool card, and a Holo Kingdra immediately afterwards. It's very cool. I do like the idea too that even though holos are guaranteed in this set, and I know they started doing this with Sword and Shield, but I think having one of your reverse rare slots potentially be something like this is really cool. So it opens up a lot of opportunity in that for people to get some good stuff out of it. Cruising right along here. Another code card. Onix, Tinkatink, Charcadet, Flittle, Defiance Vest, Veluza, Turbo Energize, Morpeko, Apom, and Iron Valiant EX. Very cool. Very cool. So there is an illustrator rare of this, but like I said, for me, I just enjoy being able to get any of them. I know for collector purposes, those illustrator rares and full arts, they are extremely valuable. And don't get me wrong, whenever I open one, I do get really excited about having it. But it is still just cool in that, even just get the standard one. I'm always happy to see something like that. So Iron Valiant was probably my personal favorite of the, if you're not counting like Miraidon and Koraidon. It was probably my personal favorite of the Paradox Pokemon. I mean, it is between that and Roaring Moon. Both of them I just think are incredible designs. But what I do really enjoy about Iron Valiant is it seemed like they did a nice little merge between Gardevoir and Gallade. So I think they made that one perfect. And a Holo Latios to end that pack. So let me move some of these extra cards out of the way over here, some of our commons. Yeah, so our next code card here. Trubbish, Gimmighoul, Wiglet, Jirachi, Wugtrio, TM Blindside, Iron Bundle, Onix, Horsea, and Thievul. Very cool. Thievul was one that I got to mess around with a little bit in Sword and Shield, so I really do love the dark type. And Nickit, I thought, I'll be honest with you, most of it was just because I kept calling it Nick at Night. But just love the name to it. And whenever I got to kind of mess around with it, I did use Thievul for a little bit during my initial Sword and Shield playthrough. It was one, though, where it was very quickly kind of outclassed, so it didn't stay on the team too long. But I do get to, or I do enjoy getting to use some of those like early game Pokemon and forming a little bit of a bond with them. Tinkaton here. Tinkatink. Now Seal and Deoxys. Very cool. But Deoxys is one as well that I would really hope to get to try again. So back whenever I worked at a group home and was doing overnights, a lot of times I would have the option to, as long as my main work was done, I was still following through with everything that needed done for that. Had a lot of freedom with it, and a lot of times I would play some of the old ROMs on my computer that I would bring in, and playing through some of them, being able to fire up the old Game Shark and that on them to get Deoxys was very cool. Oh, there we go. That is beautiful. That's so cool. You know, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of thinking earlier today it'd be so cool if we got this in there, but I was like, I know the odds are against you, but we did. We got the Roaring Moon Illustrator Rare. That's so beautiful. Such a beautiful card, and especially with everything going on in the background. You've got the Screamtail, Brute Bonnet, Slitherwing, Fluttermane. I couldn't think of what it was called there for a little bit. I think we even got Sandy Shocks right there. Man, what a beautiful card. That's so cool. That's so cool. And Volcanion. Oh, that's actually interesting. Look up top here. I don't know how well it's going to go through the camera, but it looks like we got some print stuff going on up there. Actually, looks like from where this was cut, it was the bottom of a card next to it. It's just out of curiosity. I don't think it would be, no. So this Roaring Moon looks really, really good. Okay. Oh, video's over, guys. We got it right there. I guess we're just going to keep all these packs sealed. Who am I kidding? I can't stop myself. We're pushing through it. That is so cool. Wow. Even if we don't get anything else this opening, like I'm excited. To me, that's perfect right there. I'm thrilled with this box. Must just be my man Nick. Whenever he checks me out up there, it just seems like that guy. Man, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like he blesses the boxes whenever I buy from him. Medical Energy, Purloin, Tatsugiri Reverse, and Ting Lu. All right, so we got all four of the Holo Legendaries. Very cool to get them. We'll just keep cruising right along. I think really the only other thing I'd like to see from this opening is if we could get one of the Garchomps from it. That would be, of course, phenomenal to get. So if we could do that, I would be insanely, like, it would be, for me, probably as close to a perfect box as you can get. Golbat, the Giga Chad himself, Larry, Yamask, Surskit, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, Cyclozar, Professor Turo's Scenario, Xatu, Wimpod, and Lokex. And we don't want to put the Mental Energy over there. But we are coming up on the halfway point here. So I think once we hit that halfway point, we're going to start speeding up. Unless I, of course, continue to struggle opening these packs. Fortunately, I don't think our wine cork opener is going to be good for opening packs. We can try, but then knowing my luck, that's going to be, when I do that, that's going to be the pack with the Garchomp in it. Mienfoo, Ferroseed, Iron Bundle, Gliscor, Future Booster Energy, Wimpod, Orbeetle, and Frostlass EX. Okay. So I think we have the full art version of this. I don't think I have this version, so very cool. Very cool. Alrighty, let's get on to our next one here. I would say so far, I think Scarlet and Violet has been incredible with their cards. I think they really build off of where Sword and Shield was headed and kind of left off with their expansions. But I know kind of from looking back, some of the original Sword and Shield sets, looking back now, I'm kind of thinking like, they weren't bad, but it was also like they weren't nearly as good as some of the later sets. Seadra, Mine Shao. But overall, I feel like Scarlet and Violet has just been knocking it out of the park. Xatu. It's actually kind of cool. We got 2 reverse holos of our legendary Pokemon of Ruin right there. And no, I said Tablets of Ruin earlier. I might be wrong on that. But do know that they are something legendary Ruin. Some combination of those words there. Just running out of space. Gible. Hopefully we get to see your parent somewhere in this. Blitzel, Bonsweet, Simisage, our dad, Cyclizar, Dottler, Charcadet, and Morpeko. It is kind of interesting that some of the holos in this are also now reverse holos as well. Can't remember if that really happened with Sword and Shield or not, so somebody feel free to let me know down in the comments. Speaking of the comments, if you are enjoying the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It helps us out over here. Kind of the hope with the channel is, maybe one day if we get enough subscribers and support, not saying I want to transition to this as like a full-time job. It would be cool if that ever did become an opportunity, but I would just be incredibly blessed if this became something where I could continue to do this for, people's enjoyment and just kind of, do well enough to fund the hobby from it. So I think we are now on to our second half here. I forget if that other pack was from this side. And of course, this is right where I say I'm going to speed things up and then immediately start the struggle opening the packs. Looks like the battle to turn my brain on is not quite over. All right, Pumpkaboo, Zubat, Gimmighoul, Purloin, Slitherwing, Gourgeist, Tatsugiri, Porygon Z, Wugtrio, and Aegislash. So like I said, really, I just kind of feel like the Garchomp is really the last big thing that I'm really hoping to get out of here. Any version of it I'll be happy with. Man, I am just getting progressively worse at opening these packs. There we go. All right, Doublade, Surskit, Flamigo, Magby, Screamtail, Iron Bundle, Ferrothorn, Medical Energy, Snorlax, Groudon. Very cool. I don't believe Kyogre is in here, which is okay because as a Charizard fan, we prefer the sun anyways. Code card. Mienfoo, Ferroseed, Gible, Panpour, Vanillux, Defiance Vest, Veluza, Elekid, Screamtail, and Iron Jugulus. Again, I just really love the color on that card, how it goes from white to black there. Very cool. I know it's just a regular holo, but I still appreciate them. I think that is kind of one of the things that's real interesting is, as a kid, because I started off with the original base set. I mean, back then, like, holos, those were the big things. Like, all this really cool stuff that, we get to look at now, that just didn't exist. And now it almost kind of feels like anymore when you get a holo, especially now that they're guaranteed. I think for a lot of people that kind of kills the buzz from getting them. But that being said, I still don't mind them. Really my My only critique of it is I wish that they would kind of do some of the original hollow patterns. There he is, our good boy with his giant butter knife. Such a great Pokemon. Zacian is by far my favorite legendary. Like, he's actually probably my second favorite. Oh, lost focus there. Yeah. The forever good boy. Although, actually, I think, according to the lore, Zacian is actually, even though I don't think they say it in the game, I do think that Zacian is referred to as Zamazenta's sister. So, the good girl with the butter knife. Zamazenta too, also really loved. Like, I love dog Pokemon. When I was talking with one of my buddies the other evening, we were actually kind of going through and bouncing just some of our favorites off of each other, and something he kind of threw out to me pretty immediately was when I was listing off some of my favorites outside of like starters, legendaries, pseudos. Pretty much if that region, oh, there we go. Full art Tulip. But yeah, a lot of them were dogs. There we go. Full art Tulip. Man, I know we try to keep it kid friendly on here, and I'm still going to try and do that. But I know like the people out there who love these almost like waifu ones, or however you pronounce that, will probably be going nuts over it. But that is a very beautiful looking card. So cool. And Tulip was actually one of my favorite gym leaders in Scarlet and Violet. I mean, of course, the Giga Chad himself, Larry, nobody else holds a candle. But we did have to pick a runner-up. It probably would be Tulip. But I do know there was another trainer there for a while. Iona or Iono. I don't know what her name was, but I do remember when that set came out. I think it was Paldea Evolved. I just remember seeing some of the original prices of that card, especially in Japanese, just being through the roof. Roaring Moon EX. Very cool. Roaring Moon, you might have actually surpassed my love of Iron Valiant today, since you have decided to just bless us so much. So this is the regular version, and then of course our Illustrator Rare version. Both of them are just so cool. And for those of you that don't know, Roaring Moon is supposed to be kind of like the ancient form of Salamence that was introduced during Generation 3. And Salamence was definitely a huge one. Had a very, I believe it's had a very good career competitive-wise. I know it's mega did there for a while. I believe there were actually some people that were calling for it to, I don't know if it was to ban it or to have it be sent up to Ubers, but it was incredibly good from what I remember. I can't remember, though, how well base Salamence had done. Espathra with Violet in the background. But yeah, Salamence was a really great one. At the time, I was kind of more of a Metagross fan. But I kind of think that since, for me at least, since Steel has lost some of its resistances to Dark and Ghost, forgive me while I struggle with this, I think at this point I have kind of become more of a fan of Salamence versus Metagross. Fuecoco, Blipbug, Snorunt, Crobat, Rourke, Minior, Porygon 2, and Golisopod. I think I've kind of given up going through these ones a little bit faster. There we go. Code card. Let's try and get some of that stuff off screen there. Doublade, Miltank, Wimpod, Plusle, Masquerain, Ancient Booster, Cyclizar, Milotic, Latios, and Yveltal, or Yveltal. It's another one of those Pokemon where I've heard many different pronunciations of it, so I'm not sure if it's kind of like Megalodon or Megalodon. It just kind of depends which syllable you choose to emphasize. But either way, very cool Pokemon. Would probably, though, if I had the chance to go back if I had the chance to go back and buy either X or Y, probably would have picked X just because of Mega Charizard X. Don't get me wrong, do love Mega Charizard Y just as well, but finally having that dragon typing on Charizard, that was so cool to have. But thankfully, they did put Megas into Let's Go, which, I'll be honest with you, I know those ones were kind of aimed at younger kids, especially since they incorporated a lot of the Pokemon Go kind of things along with that. My brain just completely shut off there. I knew what I was going to say and then immediately lost it. But gameplay mechanics, there we go. The battle will turn my brain back on. That'll be a war I don't know if we'll ever win. There we go, Veluza. That is such a beautiful card. Very cool. Into Milotic to end it. But yeah, it was kind of nice to go back and play through Gen 1 with having Mega Evolutions. Granted, I know that did kind of limit some of the Megas that we were able to get. But it was also kind of cool because in some ways it did actually allow me to play through with some Pokemon that I had never really used a whole lot before, like Beedrill. Wanted to try out its Mega, and I'll be honest with you, unfortunately, Beedrill, and not like base Beedrill is any good to begin with, but it was kind of cool to play through with a Beedrill that had some sort of viability to it. Alrighty. 5 packs left. Trying to fight holding in this sneeze until we can just make it through these last couple of packs here. So maybe that'll be the thing to reboot ourselves. Our code card. We'll throw you over there. Nimble, Elekid, Vanillish, Onyx, Screamtail, Professor Sada's Vitality, Minior, the Giga Chad himself, Tandemaus, and Morpeko. Seems like a lot of these cards, especially these holos, the cutting on the edges is just hasn't been for all of them, but it's kind of at the point where I've noticed quite a bit. So again, we'll just see, but you can kind of see up there where like the bottom of the card down here was cut, which I'm okay. Like, I'm not upset by that because those are just the regular holos. Granted, I haven't ever sent any cards in to get graded. That is something I would like to do, especially with like that Shining Charizard that I have. You know, some of the ones where I do know that there is value to them, I would like to get them eventually graded. But yeah, I mean, thankfully it hasn't been on any of the kind of bigger ones and all that. Granted, I mean, I'm still going to love them regardless. But yeah, normally I really haven't noticed any cutting that bad in a lot of these packs lately. But it happens. Toxicity EX. So I believe we actually got this with our build-in battle stadium as well. So we're coming down to 3 more. Can we get the Garchomp? That's kind of the last, like I said, that's really the last big thing I'm looking for. If we don't get it, that is okay. I'm not going to complain about this opening whatsoever. It's been a pretty phenomenal one. I'm actually really glad that we got this on camera. Especially getting that Roaring Moon and the Full Art Violet. That's phenomenal. Trubbish, Crocalor, Tulip, Dondozo, Iron Moth, Nickit, and Palkia. Again, another one that was just something with these packs, but hey, okay, it is what it is. And our last one here with our man Roaring Moon on it. But on the topic of gym leaders, so as I kind of said, my two favorite for Scarlet and Violet were actually Tulip and Larry. For Larry, he just, he feels like a real life adult in those games where, it's like the man's working a 9 to 5. And then after he gets done, he has to go sit there and battle with all these young kids in that when man just probably wants to go home and take that suit off, just loosen up his tie a little bit, kick back, maybe have himself. Ooh, Golden Go EX. Very cool. I forgot that was actually in this set. But yeah, he just looks like, the man looks like he needs a break. And it just doesn't look like he's ever gotten one. So more for his personality, I think he became my favorite. Tulip, though, also became my second favorite because, with this being the first real kind of true open world game where you could challenge the gym leaders in any order you wanted to. Granted, there are some gym leaders where it's like you don't want to run up and battle Tulip first, but she was one of the gym leaders where I kind of went to, I don't want to say under-leveled or like severely under-leveled, but just enough to where I think it was actually the only gym leader that kind of gave me a little bit of trouble. And for our last pack, Iron Moth. Very cool. So yeah, pretty phenomenal opening here today. I'm glad you all could be here with me for that. We got some absolutely beautiful cards in here. Let's get our two kind of big highlights out here, the Violet and the Roaring Moon. So we're going to go, after this, put these in the old binder and that just to keep them safe. But yeah, such beautiful cards. Very beautiful. And so glad you guys were here with me to get to see these. This was a phenomenal box. Like I said, I think our man there, he is the patron saint of Pokemon boxes. So it just seems like every time I get something, he's the one that rings me out. It's always something good. And I don't know, maybe this is that confirmation bias kicking in, but we had ourselves a good box opening. But as always, hey, thank you everyone for watching. If you do like the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to share the video as well. Anything, it all helps out, and I'm truly grateful for everyone's support and all that. Also, for those of you that maybe didn't enjoy the video, but you still made it this far through, again, I still thank you for making it this far through and for watching it. But I hope everyone had a good week. We're going to be putting this up on Sunday, so hopefully you also had a good weekend and enjoy the rest of the enjoy the upcoming week. And we'll see you next time.